As you know, I decided to go live this week, and as I was preparing to go live today, I was thinking to myself about the process of getting to the point where you actually just start doing the work that is required of someone who is in business for themselves. And what I found is that I can have all the faith in the world, but that faith is meaningless if I don't actually take action. And so I just wanted to start off this video with that having faith is great and wonderful, but at some point you have to just do the work. And I was doing work, but I was doing busy work. I wasn't doing what I knew I needed to do to really share with people what I have to offer and how I can help them. And part of doing the work was doing the videos that I've been dreading for so long. And I'm not going to go over everything that I went over yesterday, the nature of my work and why I do what I do. I think eventually people will just start to follow me, like my page, start to review the things that I post on a regular basis, and come to understand and know what it is that I'm about and why I'm doing this. So, in a nutshell, I'll say this. My name is Stacey, and I am the founder and host of a podcast called Calispresso, Life on the Cusp of Change, where I help people navigate the winds of change that often blow through their lives and careers. And what I want to share with you today, I'm on Instagram Live right now and Facebook Live right now. What I want to share with you today is some of the most commonly asked interview questions. And I know for a lot of you, this may be a review or a recap. But I want to share with people those questions that I've asked people that I've interviewed, and the responses that I like or hope to hear or something similar. And then also some of the questions that I know a lot of interviewers or companies will ask, and I know that the responses aren't always what we might think they are. So I want to give you some examples of responses. So the first thing I want to share is the number one question that I think most interviewers ask is, and it's not even a question, tell me about yourself. And I know you've all heard this one, tell me about yourself. And right away we start thinking, oh, well, maybe I should share something personal, talk about how, I'm married, I have 3 kids, 5 dogs, 8 cows, I live on a farm. You start talking about things that really don't have anything to do with the job. So this question or this statement, tell me about yourself, it's not an open invitation for you to talk about your family, your hobbies, or what you do on the weekends. It is an opportunity for you to talk about those things that are relevant to the job, your skills, your experience, your interest in the position that you're applying for and interviewing for. So you always want to make sure that you are mindful of this. Make sure that every response that you give to any question, but especially this one, has everything to do with the position you're applying for. So this is where you need to make sure that you've done your homework. You need to make sure that you know what it is that you're applying for, why you're interested in this position. Yes, we all know that you need a job and you need to take care of your family, but you really shouldn't be just applying to jobs just to get a job. You really shouldn't. This will actually waste your time and everyone else's time who's interviewing you. So a better response to this tell me about yourself would be something along the lines of this. And you can change the wording, change the position to fit whatever your industry is. But I would say something like this. I've been in marketing for 3 years and still get excited by new and engaging developments in materials and peripherals, especially those that are interactive and engage users socially. I'm looking forward to expanding in that direction. And so that would be a better response. That tells me that you're interested in the position, you're interested in the company, you're interested in the work that we do, and I know a little bit about you and what you're about. So you're still telling me about yourself, but you're telling me about yourself as it relates to the job. And you can elaborate on that. You can add a little bit more, but I probably wouldn't spend too much time on it. You want to limit your responses to no more than, I would say, 2 minutes per question or statement or opportunity to speak. Question number 2. What is your salary requirement? And this usually isn't the second question that an interviewer will ask you, but I'm answering it now right out the gate because I see no reason to make you wait. This is an important question, and it's going to come up at some point, and if it doesn't, it should. So here goes. You always want to state a range. You want to state a range with confidence. You want to know what you're worth, what your skills and your experience cost, or what value they bring to any particular company, and state a range so you don't lock yourself in, but state a reasonable range so you don't kick yourself out of the running. And the way you do that is, if you don't know what your value is, what your worth is, or what your skills are worth, then you need to visit the site salary.com. Salary.com, and I have no affiliation, but salary.com will help you see what people with your similar industry and experience are making in your area, in your geographic area. So you can also define your search by, I believe you can go as far down as zip code, but you can define your search especially by city and state, and see what engineers in your immediate area are making with your level of experience. And then you want to state a range, and I know engineers make much more than this, but I always use this example, $18 to $20 an hour. If you know that the position pays 18, starting rate is 18, you want to say something like 20 to 22. It doesn't necessarily kick you out of the ballpark, but I always go just a few dollars higher because I want to, and I say that in hopes that they'll give me just a little bit more. You never want to say something like, I'll just take whatever you're offering, or, oh, whatever you're offering is fine, or, oh, minimum wage is fine, or, you know, nobody can make it on minimum wage these days. And if you live in California like I do, you always want to be on the higher end, but you also want to make sure that you can meet the requirements of that position, and you can go above and beyond what they're asking for to warrant the higher end salary. So you definitely want to do something like that. So you state a range with confidence and make direct eye contact. I have interviewed people that will say to me, well, you know, $10 an hour is fine, or $12 an hour is fine. And they're looking down, they're not looking at me. So I know that they're uncomfortable with the conversation, and everybody's uncomfortable talking about money. When you're in business for yourself, you're uncomfortable putting your prices out there and telling people what your services cost, because it's just an uncomfortable thing to talk about, and it shouldn't be. You should know your value, you should know your worth, and you should know that people should know that in working with you, they're getting what they're paying for. So if all of your services are free, then they're not really getting much, are they? So I'm not saying charge top dollar for your services, but you should know your value and your worth, just like someone looking for a job, a 9-to-5 job, should know their value and worth and be able to express that in an interview. I know that the industry standard for this type of work is $18 to $20 per hour. With my level of experience, I would hope that you would offer me something consistent with that. And that should be good. That should be good enough. Number 3, why are you leaving your current job? This is a tough one. Everybody always wants to know. You never want to say something like, I need more money. You never want to say anything negative about the job, the company, coworkers, or your boss. You could say something like this: after a year with ABC Company, I find myself interested in the challenges of a sales and marketing position. Your job post is the perfect fit for me. It's exactly what I'm looking for. So you want to say something more along those lines, okay? Number 4, what is your greatest achievement? A lot of people will ask, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What is your greatest achievement? This is your chance to really shine. So what I would say is something like this: my greatest achievement to date would have to be the video game launch party I planned and executed within 30 days. Attendance was well over 1,000. Guest well over 1,000 guests, and the event was also attended by 5 A-list celebrities, something like that, 3 of whom were reached organically. They were invited by someone else. And because of their attendance and the followings that they brought to our organization, we were able to raise more money than we ever thought we could, or we were able to sell more products than we thought we could. And as a result, we reduced our overall marketing expense by $100,000. At that time, I was promoted from assistant to supervisor. So that would be your greatest achievement to date, because there's opportunity for more achievements later on. Number 5, tell me about a time you went above and beyond, out of your way to make a customer satisfied. And this is something, I'm basing the response on something that happened to me recently. I purchased a glossy box, and the first 2, actually I purchased a subscription of Glossy Box, and I wasn't going to mention them, but the first 2 boxes, there were problems. An item was missing in the first box, and the second box had an item that was damaged. So after I received the first box, I reached out to them. So I based this example of a response on my personal experience with a company, and I liked the way they responded. I was happy with the response. So I was working for Trendy Trinkets, and I received an email from a new client indicating an item was missing from her order. I immediately apologized and took responsibility for the shipping error. I sent the new item, or I sent the item, missing item, with a personalized handwritten note thanking her for giving us an opportunity to correct the mistake. And something as simple as that made it, it reassured me that I was working with a company or purchasing from a company that valued its customers. So I didn't cancel my subscription, which I thought I would do because it was my first order and I was pretty disappointed. I decided to give them a second chance. Now the second box came with a defective product, but I let them know that their quality control was probably, I don't know, needing revision. And I'm going to give them one more chance, and we'll see what happens in my third package, my third delivery. So number 6, where do you see yourself? This is one of my least favorite questions. Where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years? I don't know why I don't like this question. I think because it's really hard to say where you're going to see yourself, where you see yourself in 5 or 10 years with a company that you know very little about. You can elaborate on this one with something like, well, in 3 years, I see myself managing the marketing department. In 5 years, I hope my ideas for expansion into foreign markets will be implemented. In 10 years, I would like to own my own branch office in Spain. Something along those lines. You just want to be able to show ambition and that you're goal-oriented. Number 7, what do you know about our company? How did you hear about this opening, and why do you want to work here? Another one of my least favorites, why do you want to work here? They're all in the same category. They all fall within the same category, but what you want to do is follow the company online and be able to speak about the success or recent advancements of that company. Did they just receive an award? Was the interviewer or the hiring manager awarded something, nominated for an award for a special achievement? People love to hear about themselves and their greatness. So you want to build them up and give them reason to remember you. With every question or with every statement, with everything that you say, you want to be thoughtful in your responses, and you want to give them an opportunity to, or a reason to remember you by setting yourself apart from everyone else. There's going to be a lot of candidates interviewing for the same job, and you have to be creative in your thinking and in your presentation when you interview with people. So that is the end of my little spiel about responding to some of the most commonly asked questions. And I just want to share in conclusion with you, again, the opportunity to download my free guide, the 2018 Competitive Edge Job Search Guide. It's absolutely free. You don't even have to provide your email. You just go to my website at calispresso.com, and up in the top right-hand corner, there is a link for free download. It is not comprehensive. I am actually working on the comprehensive version of this right now that will come out within the next few weeks. But this was a part of my first, my webinar for the Magic Johnson Foundation Taylor Michael Scholarship Program, and I mentioned before that that's my claim to fame, so I'm going to continue to mention that. But the material contained in here is material that, when invited to conduct that webinar for the Magic Johnson Foundation, I put it together and presented it for those scholarship recipients, and it was well received. So I revised it and updated it, and this version is free. Download on my website, calispresso.com, and what it has in it is your resume do's and don'ts, the 4 major parts of a resume, mistakes to avoid, active versus passive job seeking, networking and social media, keeping your page clean, job search tips and tricks, a special section for entry-level and new graduates, and interview etiquette, and again, most common interview questions. There's also a section at the end for follow-up, and success is always in the follow-up. Networking is key too. Having connections in your industry is going to be very important to the success of your job search. So that's pretty much it. Thank you so much, and please share this video and like my page on Facebook, and follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you again tomorrow about the same time. Thanks.